Oh, yeah! Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the Hockey Happy Hour. We are live from the BMW Atlantic City Studios here in Mount Ephraim, New Jersey. Freak out, freak out. Oh, yeah! Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to another edition of the Hockey Happy Hour. We are live from the BMW Atlantic City Studios here in Mount Ephraim, New Jersey, like Macho just said. And we are brought to you by the Scanzano Sports Center, located in 5 Carnegie Plaza in Cherry Hill, New Jersey. Give them a call at 856-889-3434 or visit them on the web at www.scanzanosports.com. Gentlemen, we are back for another edition of the Hockey Happy Hour. It's time to talk some hockey, and the Flyers rebounding after a couple of tough losses. First to the Red Wings in a shootout. We figured that undefeated streak wasn't going to last very long. And then to go on to it, the Maple Leafs pulling off a comeback kid victory on the Flyers. Of course, the Flyers didn't look all that good, and that's what allowed that to happen. And then they rebounded against the Minnesota Wild, getting a victory, but not without losing a certain somebody who we will be talking about in just a quick minute. But first, let me introduce to you to who the hell we are. I am Matt Suni, along with Rob the Povia and Brian the Darkwing Daly.
I'm back.
Yes, that's right. He is back, ladies and gentlemen, to everyone else's dismay.
Oh, that's rude.
So, gentlemen, what an interesting week it was for Philadelphia. Kind of getting down in the dumps there, then kind of picking ourselves back up. But there might just be one silver lining in this dark sea of clouds here, and that is Stoli the goalie is up on the Flyers roster.
Can I just make a quick suggestion to you, Maddie?
Yes.
If it doesn't work out in this radio thing for you, you really got to get into impressions, especially wrestling impressions.
Voiceovers? I was thinking the same thing.
Right? Right? I thought Macho Man was live here.
And now I want a Slim Jim.
And last week when you weren't here, his opening was, "Hey, Detroit, you're next!" And I thought it was Goldberg. Like, I swear to God, I thought Goldberg shrunk into a 5 foot. How old are you?
I'm 5'6".
I don't want to belittle you. 5'6" with long red hair.
He's already there.
Yes.
That's okay. You don't need to worry about the short jokes. It's the ginger jokes that get to me. No, I'm joking. Even they don't.
You probably didn't like that one episode of South Park then, did you?
Oh, no, I don't care. I give out ginger ale all the time in my front yard. You just don't ask where it comes from, though. But anyway, moving on.
Gingers will steal your soul.
So, ladies and gentlemen, we get started with the Flyers review, and we're going to pick it up with that game against Detroit. And, yeah, that was a heartbreaker, to say the least. Again, Anthony Stolarz, what the hell is it with this guy scoring goals on the Flyers? He did it in the first game against Philly, and then he does it to win the game for Detroit.
Right?
Can we get Anthony Stolarz on the team just because his name is really cool, and I would like
he
to
does
actually...
have a pretty awesome hockey name.
That is an awesome name. That is an awesome, awesome name. I think it might replace Jeff Bookeboom, which was my favorite name back in the day.
I like
that was a cool name back, and it was spelled the weirdest way too.
I don't know who the Detroit Red Wings announcers are, but you have to have that for the call when he scores. See you later. No, never. It'd probably be better if it was baseball, but you know.
I'm gonna say this though. I do miss the old school NHL games when Jeff Bookeboom's name was being said by Jim Houston. How awesome it was!
Yeah, that was cool back in the day. I
do love Hockey Night in Canada's because 9 times out of 10 it's Jim Houston making the call.
Yeah, of course,
and it's nostalgic for me.
Yeah, of course. And speaking of that, did anyone hear what Don Cherry said? Speaking of Hockey Night in Canada, that he said that for all those who supported Hillary Clinton and Donald Trump won, you are not allowed in Canada. We don't want you.
Yeah,
I'm like, yeah, Don. But guess what? The United States would never want you anyway. So, quite frankly, yeah.
Yeah, but these are like celebrities like Cher and Rosie O'Donnell. I wouldn't want them either.
Yeah, good point.
Maybe Cher back in the day.
Whoa. I don't know. She was plastic back then too, wasn't she?
Who knows?
Yeah, for God's sakes.
But that Turn Back Time video.
Nice, very nice.
Yeah. I don't remember that. I wasn't around for that. Someone's knocking on the door.
You keep on knocking, but you can't come in. No.
I think someone locked the door here at the Mount Ephraim Studios. Somebody doesn't want to let somebody in. But anyway, back to the Detroit game. Yeah, so the studio door is now unlocked. Interesting enough. But anyway. Hi, Zach. Nice to see you, bud. Anyway.
Zach Burr, the rundown. Great show here on HCD Radio.
But anyway, so back to the Detroit game. Flyers take a tough loss. They do get a point in the standings, though, so there is a bit of a silver lining in that one. Then they take a nasty loss to the Toronto Maple Leafs. And I'm going to say nasty, even though they played pretty well up until that third period. I'm going to say nasty because that's unacceptable. I don't care who you are. I don't care what kind of team you have. You could have the worst players in NHL history, but if you got a 1-0 lead or a 2-0 lead or you got a 3-2 lead, I don't care. You do not give up 3 or 4 straight goals in the third period. You just don't do that. That is disgusting, unacceptable. That is the first period. I will say the Flyers absolutely failed as a team completely.
This is going to be peaches and cream. There's no way I can't make this point without sounding like it, but we've talked about the schedule makers not being too kind to the Flyers. You saw it catch up to them in that third period, especially playing against the Maple Leafs team, who we theorized last week to be those young guns, very high in speed, going to really drain the energy tank, and that's what happened in the game. But let me give credit to where credit's due, though. The Flyers D did do well to limit Austin Matthews' scoring chances and stick check him when he did have opportunities. So in terms of the main gun there up until the third period, late in the third period, they held Austin Matthews pretty well in check.
I thought they held him pretty well in check the entire game regardless.
Yeah.
I mean, a 6-3 loss to the Toronto Maple Leafs is never anything that you want to take. I mean, yeah, Toronto's on the up and up, and there's a bunch of young talent on that team. But come the third period and you have a lead, you got to start playing a little conservative, and still be aggressive at the same time. And they went straight conservative and gave up way too many opportunities for Toronto, and they took hold of it.
Yeah, and the weird part is, too, where you look at Toronto, is Toronto, like you said, on the up and up. They are getting better. But by no way should you be losing to them 6-3. I'm going to say that right now. Yes, I get it. They've got all that young talent. But you know what? Besides that young talent, and some decent talent they have on that roster, what else do they have?
I mean, like I said, they're still a young team. They have a good goalie in Frederik Andersen, which I know firsthand.
That's fine.
Coming from Anaheim.
Yeah.
They have some good defensive players, and all their talent is up front.
But that's my point. Where it's just like after that, what else do they have? Really, not much else. So you shouldn't be losing to them 6-3. You really shouldn't be at the end of the day.
Now, with that being said, as good as this Flyers offense has been and their ability to score goals, they're giving up just as many, if not double the goals.
And you know what? We're going to be talking about that in depth here because we've got a lot to analyze on that regard. And you know what? The same thing accounts for Detroit, too. And I wanted to bring this up, as a matter of fact. Have you ever noticed that Detroit and Philly are basically the exact same team? Where Detroit will give up a ton of goals, but they'll also be able to score, and they've constantly got to keep the offense going. The same thing the Flyers have to do in order for them to stay relevant in the game. Or in other words, they lose games immediately. The same problems Detroit's been hampered with, Philly's been hampered with the exact same thing. They're both mirror images of each other, and that's why those were two very competitive games between the two of them. They are basically the same team.
I agreed. Flyers and the Red Wings both have good defensemen, but they don't have elite defensemen. They don't have any real big name, not even necessarily big name, but big shutdown defensemen.
Yeah, and they have a lot of young talent, but they have some veteran presence. But again, it's mostly the young talent that's driving them, like Dylan Larkin for them, Anthony Stolarz, and all of them. They're driving that team. With the same thing you come with the Flyers, you see guys like Shane Gostisbehere, Travis Konechny, Ivan Provorov, all of these guys driving the team. Not that the veterans can't do that. Giroux and Voracek can do that, but you get my point. So could Henrik Zetterberg on the Red Wings at any time.
Right, and the one thing, I think this is the big difference between Philly's defense and Detroit's defense. Detroit's defense is more offensive-minded.
Yeah.
You have Mike Green, Danny DeKeyser, Brent Smith.
Yeah.
Those guys are more offensive-minded defensemen. They don't have any real defensemen.
Yeah, the Flyers only have one offensive defenseman, and that would be Michael Del Zotto. And then Shane Gostisbehere is a little bit on that offensive side, but he's really good at two-way, so you consider him more of a two-way defenseman.
Right.
But with all that being said, though, tough loss to Detroit, tough loss to Toronto. They go back to Philly on a back-to-back, and they face Minnesota coming in. And, of course, as we highlighted, Minnesota, very defensive team, very defensive-minded, really focusing hard on trying to keep their defensive pressure up. Offense is pretty good. And it did show some highlights there, but the Flyers did manage to outlast them and walk away with a 3-2 win, which I did expect. I half expected Minnesota to be able to pull that out. The Flyers to pull that out against Minnesota because, no offense to the Wild, but the Wild are still a very defensive-minded team. And if you can get to them, you can actually hold on and get a victory against them. Because their offense does have signs of life, but then their offense just doesn't show up every once in a blue moon. It just kind of disappears.
Yeah, they got talent on that roster in Minnesota. You have guys like Jason Pominville, whose career kind of resurrected a little bit going over there. Eric Stahl's career is starting to resurrect a little bit since going over there. Young guys like Nino Niederreiter. It's just they got talent. They got time to score. Flyers had really good opportunity against Minnesota to beat a top team like that.
Yeah, but now, of course, after getting the win, though, it wasn't without taking a tough loss. And the toughest loss is, of course, Michal Neuvirth, who has been flirting with the injury bug his entire career. Her flirtatious ways, he can't resist them, and he fell for her again. He's hurt again, and he's got a knee injury, most likely. They haven't said it's a knee injury, but they're suspecting that it is. And he's out 4 to 6 weeks. So, enter Anthony Stolarz coming up from the Lehigh Valley Phantoms. Now, it should be funny to note, though, that as everyone's been excited for Stoley to be coming up to the Flyers roster, Hextall actually got very, very testy with the media. And he immediately said that, as it's not a great thing as you guys make it out to be. As it is to you, it's terrible to us. And apparently all you guys want to see is a new face, new body. We're in the business to win games. We're not in the business to just test out new players. Which I get why Hextall was frustrated and angry because everyone's making this come out to be, Anthony Stolarz is going to make his first NHL debut. He's going to come in and he's going to take over the starting goalie position, and it's going to become a bit of a distraction. But do you think Hexy handled that appropriately? Do you think maybe he should have been a little bit more calm there? I mean, we're asking Hexy to be calm. That's kind of it's kind of an oxymoron. The guy's only beaten down his fair share of goalies in the NHL during his playing career. But how do you think Hexy handled that little press conference there?
I think he handled it well. I mean, he handles it very well. I mean, it's not overreacting. It is what it is.
What about you, Ryan?
I thought he handled it pretty well. Like, he hit the nail right on the head. It's not about they're not in a rebuilding stage. They're in a retooling stage.
Yeah.
He doesn't want to see, you don't want to see anybody ever go down for an injury and have another player come up for that. And that's a situation that Stolarz is in now. It's only a temporary thing. It's not like Stolarz is going to be up for the rest of the year.
Yeah, I think that's what the media is hyping it up to be pretty much. Now, we're not going to do that. Yeah, we're not going to do that, though, because we know for a fact that that's not going to happen. But I do want to point this out now. The Flyers need to protect 2 goalies because guess what's coming next year? The expansion draft.
Yep.
And Las Vegas is going to be looking for a goalie. Now, if Stolarz makes his NHL debut this year and he actually kills it for that period of time, who knows? Las Vegas may have interest in him. Now, I'm not saying there's not other goalie prospects out there, but if it comes down to it, I'm just going to say this right now. I let Neuvirth walk, and I protect Stolarz.
Oh, agreed.
No offense to Neuvirth, but I'm protecting Stolarz all day, every day.
I mean, I love Neuvy, but the man can't stay healthy.
That's been his MO his entire career.
Yeah, I mean, he was going to be the starter in Washington for a period of time until he got hurt, and then enter Braden Holtby, and that was the end of that.
It was Buffalo before that?
Yeah, with Buffalo before that. Buffalo was going to try and use him to replace Miller, but then he got hurt again, and Miller just kept on doing what he did. Eventually, now they have Nielsen in goal, which I don't know if he's going to be permanent there.
They also have Robin Leonard over there, too.
They do. I'm not sure where their goaltending situation is going to go towards there. They kind of got a weird tandem going on over there, too, over in Buffalo. But anyway, with that all being said, though, bringing up this Michal Neuvirth injury and Stoley coming in, I got to ask you guys, do you expect to see him make his NHL debut tonight, or do you expect Mace? Because I'm expecting Mace tonight for the Flyers.
Rob, you want to?
It's Mason, absolutely.
Yeah.
I mean, like, we gave a great poll out there, how much playing time will, and I love this Twitter handle, @Stoley the goalie.
Yeah.
Absolutely love that. Get with Michal Neuvirth out, and we gave options, split time with Mason, random start, every back-to-back game, or majority of games. Well, it's not going to be a majority of games. I mean, Mason has played okay. I'm going to say okay. Hasn't played great. I mean, we pinpointed it towards the defense being the problem of this team. It's been the goaltending. It really has been. I mean, especially if you look back to that Toronto game or even that Detroit game before that, you make 1 or 2 extra saves.
Yeah.
You make 1 or 2 extra saves. I mean, it wouldn't matter much in the Toronto game because there was a lot. But, I mean, they keep 2 out of 4 there. They crawl back into that game. It's a whole different puck game, so to speak. Excuse the pun. But I honestly think that Mason, just to answer your question, I went on a tangent there. Mason will get the start tonight. He should still see a majority of the games. But now's the time to start seeing what you got at Stoley, the goalie. And, I mean, if it were me, since the schedule makers blast us with tons of back-to-back games, utilize that to see what Stolarz has. That way you keep Mason fresh, because what happens with Neuvirth having this injury problem and being checkered past, and Mason also too prone to the injury, you're going to be left with Stolarz. Get the man some game experience.
Yeah, you should, because guess what happens if both Mason and Neuvirth happen to go out? Here's our goalie tandem. It's Jason LaBarbera, and it's Anthony Stolarz.
That's not LaBarbera anymore. LaBarbera retired.
Oh, that's right. LaBarbera did retire.
Yep.
I forgot all about that. That's right. It isn't him anymore. Yeah, I forgot all about that. Thanks for reminding me.
You're welcome.
That's what I do.
Yeah. Oh, well, he was a former Duck anyway. All right, moving on.
He's a former lot.
Yeah, he was everywhere. Where was LaBarbera not? He was a Blue Jacket. He was everywhere.
That's a shorter list.
Yeah.
Maddie, if I may, man, I know we covered the recap of the Toronto game.
Yeah,
but there were a couple notable things that went down in that game I wanted to share.
Sure.
First of all, Wayne Simmons' first shorthanded goal of his career.
Really?
Believe it or not. I was surprised to hear that, right? Yeah, he scored his first shorty of his career in that game. It was really a beautiful play by Coots to chip the puck off the board to spring Wayne on that breakaway. It was just a beautiful pass, and I can't say it enough how much I've been impressed with Sean Couturier's level of play. In this game, really Simmer and Konechny's speed was on display on that shorthanded goal. This team, it's just great to see this Flyers team flying high.
It is.
Absolutely. I mean, and then we talked about before, in the end, the Flyers really let this game slip away. Defensive breakdowns and turnovers in the own zone cost the Flyers really dearly. And this brings me to a point. Maple Leafs' first win this season after trailing going into the third. Flyers had been 8-2-1 in Toronto before the loss.
Wow. So now we're 8-3-1. That's definitely not a pleasant thing to be in. Now, moving forward, though, with that being said on Toronto, with that defensive breakdown on their part and the team effort just not really showing up there in that third period, as those habits start to go away, the real question is, taking all that into effect, do you see Hackstall really using Stolarz all that much? And I'm going to say this because as a coach, you have a responsibility to making sure that your goalie is not feeling like he's going to get shelled every time he goes out there. And I'm not saying Stolarz is a bad goalie or anything like that. I mean, I'm just saying that when you're bringing in a rookie, it's like bringing in a pitcher in baseball.
Right.
There's a lot that you got to take into account, like what's he getting into, what's the matchup, how's he going to handle this team, what kind of team we're facing. Because looking at the schedule right now, the best game on the roster right now where we could possibly see him is either Winnipeg or Calgary, and I'm leaning more towards Calgary than Winnipeg, strangely enough, because Winnipeg's doing really well right now.
Right.
So I'm just saying, do you think Hackstall kind of holds back on using Stoley for that reason? Do you think he's a little concerned that the defense might not show up in front of him?
No, I don't think so. I mean, especially, every game is one game healthier for Michael Del Zotto. Mark Streit has played well. Provorov and Gostisbehere are still young players. Provorov had his quirks, and even Gostisbehere has kind of regressed a little bit this year. You're just starting to see that offensive presence take off, but he's got to remember to take care of his defensive assignment. He is a good two-way player, and he will play like that. So moving forward, it's time to let the leash off this man. I mean, I don't know if I'm speaking from my head or from my heart here, but I know what Anthony Stolarz is capable of. He's going to be the ultimate man in Philadelphia, so get him some playing time already. You know what I mean?
You know what? We've been saying that for a while.
Obviously, the heart.
Yeah, that's definitely the heart.
Mm-hmm.
But you know what? I agree with you 100%, though. And the reason why I agree is because we've had a long time to see him develop in the Phantoms. He's still young, too. That's the best part of it. The way I see it is, what's the worst that's going to happen? You put him in net and we lose? Well, if we were facing a team that was kicking our ass, we were going to lose with Mason in net anyway.
You're already getting shoddy goaltending play. I mean, I'm not saying that they've been horrible. They've been great at times, but it's shoddy. So here's the time, man, and allow this man to come in. You got a young forward, Travis Konechny, a young defenseman, Ivan Provorov, and Shane Gostisbehere. Then have the final piece of the puzzle, have the young gun in net, and really build your team around this core. It'd be great to have, I hate to make this comparison, but have him pull a Dak Prescott and come in and really take a hold of the job. Yeah, I did that.
You did do that.
I'll mute my mic for the rest of the show.
You could have said Pelly.
Yeah, I could have said Pelly. Oh, and you know, as a somber note, too, a couple days ago, 31 years since we lost Pelly Lindbergh.
Yeah, it's a shame. Imagine if the Flyers had kept Pelly. Although we would have never had seen Hextall if Pelly had lived.
That's
we would have
true.
never have seen Hextall on the Flyers. But anyway, we have to take a break. When we come back, we will get right back into our conversations, but we're going to go around the league, and then we'll pick right back up with the Flyers afterwards. But until then, just want to let you guys know about Liberty Event Rentals. They're located at 2154 East Cambridge Street in Philadelphia, PA. You can give them a call, 267-314-7368. They have tables, chairs, tents, linens for any kind of thing that you got going on. It could be a Thanksgiving party. It could be a Christmas party. It could be a Roman orgy. Either way, they got it for you. All the stuff you could ever want possible. You have to bring your own toys, though. And you can hit them up online at www.libertyeventrentals.com. This is the Hockey Happy Hour, and we'll be right back after this.
Hey, do you need to get your skills in shape? Then contact the Scanzano Sports Center, located at 5 Carnegie Plaza in Cherry Hill, New Jersey. You can give them a call at 856-889-3434 or visit them on the web at www.scanzanosports.com. John Scanzano offers individual, semi-private, and team training lessons in hitting, pitching, catching, outfield, along with turf rentals. The Scanzano Sports Center is equipped with a 31,000 square foot indoor facility, 4 batting cages, and a 4,000 square foot strengthening and conditioning room. So what are you waiting for? Contact the Scanzano Sports Center today.
A2DRadio.com is proudly sponsored by Gibson Mayer LLC Certified Public Accountants. Gibson Mayer, located in Yardley, PA, is a leading accounting and business consulting firm with a proven track record of handling critical issues with expertise across many different industries, including construction, distribution, hospitality, manufacturing, real estate, service trades, merchandising, professional services, and professional athletes. Give them a call at 215-369-3300. That's 215-369-3300. Your initial consultation is always free, and if you tell them that Tom and Mike from AM and the PM sent you, you'll receive 15% off all income tax services completed by February 15th. That's Gibson Mayer LLC Certified Public Accountants, 215-369-3300, or visit them on the web at www.gibsonmayer.com. That's gibsonmayer.com.
A2DRadio.com is sponsored by The Sports Outlet for all your sporting needs. Located at 703 Black Horse Pike in Glendora, New Jersey. Give them a call at 856-939-2030 or email them at sportsoutletnj@comcast.net or visit them on the web at www.sportsoutletinc.com for all your sporting needs. The Sports Outlet.
You're listening to the Hockey Happy Hour, only on A2DRadio.com.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the Hockey Happy Hour. We are live from the BMW of Atlantic City Studios here in Mount Ephraim, New Jersey. And guess what? Tax season will be around here before you know it. We're about to head into December, believe it or not, because Thanksgiving is shockingly next week. I'm stunned. November's flown right by.
Seriously.
And December will be here before you know it. And then once Christmas passes, that's when tax season's really going to start ramping up. So guess what? You want to go to Gibson Mayer LLC, your certified public accountants located at 301 Oxford Valley Road in Yardley, PA. Give them a call, 215-369-3300. Tax season is almost here, so be ready, be prepared, get Gibson Mayer. On to our next part, which is around the league, and we got some news that's hit up the NHL. So, Robbie, what have we got going on in the National Hockey League?
Well, I know one that's really going to tickle the fancy of one Brian Daly. Welcome back, Brian. Good to have you back on both shows, really.
Missed you guys.
Yeah, so we missed you too, man.
We missed you, yes.
Well, obviously,
I don't
maybe
know
you
if
were.
I buy that.
No, don't worry. Would I lie?
Yes.
Yeah, I would. I totally lie. I lie all the time. Anyway.
I heard you also cheat and steal, too.
Yes. Essay!
But maybe Brian was just tickled pink sitting at home watching his defenseman come back and one Hampus Lindholm, who made his season debut versus the Blue Jackets in Columbus last Wednesday. How's he been looking so far? Has he been behind the times?
A little bit behind. He spent a lot of time playing on international ice, so he's got to readjust to playing back in the NHL and getting into the puck battles along the boards and stuff like that. Other than that, I mean, he looks like Hampus.
Hampus.
Looks like Hampus.
And what are they going to do about their salary cap situation?
I guess it's something they're going to deal with when the time comes.
Yeah.
I haven't heard anything yet.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think they're just going to rock for now until, they're forced to make a move, and then they'll make a move.
Right. I mean, if they have to move a Cam Fowler, are you in support of that?
No.
No.
It's going to break my heart.
Yeah.
I'm not going to support it, but I'm, if it's best for the team, it's best for the team.
Yeah.
What about, Getzlaf is long in the tooth, no?
Yeah.
Yeah, what about thinking about possibly moving to Ryan Getzlaf?
He's the captain. He ain't going anywhere.
Yeah?
Between Perry and Getzlaf, I don't think either one of those guys are going anywhere anytime soon.
Okay.
Well, actually, that's an interesting question. I like how you brought that up. Do you actually see anybody taking up the mantle that's of the youth core in Anaheim after Ryan's basically getting ready to hang it up?
As of right now? That's on the roster now?
Yeah.
Potentially, maybe if he doesn't get moved, Cam Fowler.
Cam Fowler?
Getzlaf and Perry are both 31 years old. They're not going to be here forever.
Right.
Cam Fowler's 23. You could possibly make an argument for Rickard Rakell. He's 23. Kessler's at the back end of his career. Cogliano's at the back end of his career.
There you go. Bingo. You move a Ryan Kessler because I'm sure he's got a sizable contract.
He does, but I don't think he's going to go anywhere either. You don't really have anybody to replace him.
They'll just send him back to
building
Vancouver.
for the future, though. Just you know what I mean. You build from within. You avoid the salary cap.
Actually,
that's the only reason.
I agree with that whatsoever. But the only problem with that is I don't think there's any centers that are down below that are ready to come up.
Well, yeah, but think about this though. You can always get a plug-in piece. You can always get a plug-and-play player. You can always get one of those for a year.
A rent-a player.
Yeah, you can always get
Okay.
one of those. You can get like a Sam Gagne out of nowhere, just like he can be the center for a year. He's not a bad player. He's just not a
No, he was
phenomenal
never a bad player. No.
Yeah, but not only that though, you just send Ryan Kessler back to Vancouver, and the reason why is because Vancouver's going to finish bottom of the barrel, so you get a good draft pick out of it. So there you go.
You could, but then again, who's going to be that second line center? You can make an argument for Antoine Vermette, but that's just based off his face-off ability. His face-off ability is what tops in the league.
Well, sometimes that may be all you need, really, at the end of the day. Have somebody who can win the face-off circle, and then you just let the wingers shoot and score.
But Kessler's got great great chemistry with Silverberg and Cogliano. That line is.
I got you.
I think it's one of the best lines in hockey, and that's not me trying to be a homer.
Anyway.
Scumbag.
Is it really a homer when your team's across the state? People ask me that question all the time, too, Brian.
Yeah, that's a good question. Is it really a homer?
Yeah.
I like it.
Yeah.
No, it's not a homer.
I should have did that when the guest asked me. I think about things way too late. Anyway, moving on. 2007 Winter Classic going down this year between the Blues and the Blackhawks. Well, there's going to be a little alumni game on the 31st, New Year's Eve. It was announced by the St. Louis Blues who will be participating in that. The most notable name being Wayne Gretzky. Spent 2 seasons on the Blues? One. So only 1 season, and he's playing on the Blues alumni game. That's kind of like Mike Piazza being invited by the Miami Marlins to show up at an alumni event. But, I mean, he's not the only one that's in that precarious position. Goaltender Martin Brodeur will be participating as a St. Louis Blue.
No. That's funny. No. Seriously, who's really the goalie for the St. Louis Blues alumni?
Martin Brodeur.
You got to be kidding me. He played 1 year on the St. Louis Blues, and it
Not
wasn't even a full year.
Yeah.
And he played maybe, one playoff series for them, and that was it.
Something like that.
I think St. Louis got beat in the first round, too. So.
Right. Well, it's a little surprising for Gretzky because he just recently played for the Edmonton Oilers in an alumni game against the Jets on October 22nd, one day before the Heritage Classic game between the two. And he was quoted saying, that might have been my last game because he said he looked bad. Well, apparently he's going to give it one more go. And it's like, Wayne, dude, you know what I mean? I get it's about bringing back the lore of yesteryear. You know, you're not going to play like you were back in the Oilers. Get over yourself.
Well, you could tell by the hair plugs.
Right.
So, he's trying to, revamp his youth back when he had that weird curly mullet crap going on back in the 80s.
Well, a few more notable Blues are participating in this. You got Hockey Hall of Famers Brett Hull, Bernie Federico, Al McGinnis, Adam Oates, Chris Pronger. We all know Chris Pronger.
Yeah.
Jerk off.
Hold on. Real quick. He's on the LTIR. He's still under contract. Should he allowed to be playing that game?
That is a very good question.
Bingo bango, Brian.
Yeah.
Took the words right out of my mouth. That's a perfect point. Nor should he be playing. You know what I mean? Not you're talking like by the letter of the law. But how can you play an alumni game and not want to lace it up in the bigs? You know what I mean?
I mean, I get it, but he should not be eligible for that.
No,
he's not
seriously.
retired.
Well, it was the weird thing, too, because people were saying the same thing about Mark Recchi. He had just retired, and then he showed up for the Flyers alumni game. So, like, you only just played last year. How can you be playing in an alumni game this year?
That's okay. It's the Flyers. It's Mark Recchi.
That's a good point. It's Mark Recchi.
Well,
we all love Recchi. So
it is Mark Recchi.
Yeah, Mark Recchi's great.
As long as you're retired, the length of time to me doesn't matter. If you're still considered an active player, which technically Pronger is because he is still under contract with Phoenix.
Yeah.
He shouldn't be allowed to play.
Agreed.
It's a whole nother ball game.
Agreed. Last player quoted here, Peter Stastny.
Peter Stastny.
Well, Paul's father will be participating, longtime NHLer or whatnot. So
Isn't there another one?
There's a couple of other Stastnys. There were a lot of there was a couple of Stastnys that were on Quebec when they first showed up.
Yeah, I mean, wasn't Paul one of them?
Yeah, and then he left and went to St. Louis.
I'm blanking. It's gonna bug me.
The Stastnys played. There was like 3 of them. And the Stastnys all played on Quebec, and then one of them went to St. Louis, and they all left the Czechoslovakia. They all basically escaped Czechoslovakia because you couldn't just leave back then. Not like nowadays. Nowadays you can just it's like, hey, bye. It's not like we have anything to give you. So.
Top for now, right?
That's why Yager lives in Miami now.
Right.
He's banging all them bitches out there. Anyway.
Also announced earlier today are the rosters of the Red Wings and the Maple Leafs for their Centennial Classic alumni game on December 31st. You can look up those rosters after the show on NHL.com. Are there too many outdoor games because I'm having a hard time keeping track of what's the Winter Classic, what's a Heritage Classic, Centennial Classic.
Stadium
they're all
Series.
If they're all classic,
Yeah.
how the fuck are they classic?
Yeah,
like,
I know. Yeah.
Seriously.
Well, it's weird because, they've wasted a lot of good rivalry games on the Stadium Series. Like
Jan Stastny. Sorry.
There we go.
There it
Jan
is.
Stastny.
Jan Stastny.
There we go. Jan
I knew.
Stastny.
I knew I'd find that eventually.
Yeah.
You
got
were
it.
looking that up. I thought you were going through some things. I would have delayed making that point until you
No, you're
came up
fine.
with that name.
But anyway,
Oh, thank you, baby.
with that being, they never won
Baby.
the cup. Anyway, it's okay. He never got his name on the cup. Playing on Quebec, that was common. Anyway, so moving on. What? What?
Wait.
That was harsh on Quebec? They don't
No.
even have a team now.
Jan Stastny's playing now.
Oh. Anyway, moving on. So, leaving the Stastnys, we now go to my point. They've wasted some really weird rivalry games, too, on the Stadium Series. Like New Jersey versus New York. That was wasted on a Stadium Series game in Yankee Stadium. Now, albeit it's a shitty stadium nowadays, but still, I mean, that's still the New Jersey Devils versus the New York Rangers. That's a classic rivalry right there.
Right.
I mean, they had 2 Eastern Conference Finals that blew the roof off the place. It really stole the whole playoffs. I mean, obviously you could go all the way back to 94, when the Rangers upset the Devils. Well, didn't upset the Devils. They were supposed to win that series, and they did. But the Devils really gave them a hard time, mostly because of Brodeur. And then in 2012, which should have been the Flyers and the Rangers, yeah, I'm still bitter about that one. And we still owe your asses a loss in the playoffs, too, by the way, Devils. Anyway, moving on. With that being said,
Sweet redemption.
yeah, you're trying so hard for me to say that right now.
I'm trying to get you to say it at
You're
least
trying
once.
to get me to say that now. But anyway, with that all being said, though, that was a waste of a rivalry. That should have been sent for a Winter Classic in a northern city where there probably would have been snow. Just saying, it would have been classic.
Very much so.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe they need to do away with the whole, like, it being a regular season game between teams, or at least down to one, right? And have all these other classics, quote unquote, be between, like, I'd like to see an outdoor game between the Hartford Whalers and the Quebec Nordiques and have, like, the best of their storied franchises or stuff like that, or maybe even, like, the Seattle Pilots?
Seattle.
Seals?
No, it's the
that was a baseball
It's
team,
the
isn't it?
Seattle Metropolitans.
Seattle Metropolitans.
I don't know if you're going to get any of them. That's an old team right there.
Get out your walkers on the ice.
Then wait, who had the Seals then? I thought that was Seattle.
California
That was Oakland.
Oh.
Yeah, before San Jose was around there.
came in the league the same time as the Flyers and Penguins.
Yeah, they're the only one of that expansion, too, that actually ceases operations. All the other ones are still around. And all of them but one team has a Stanley Cup.
It's good batting average.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And guess which one doesn't have a Stanley Cup? The Blues.
The Blues.
They're the only ones that don't have one currently.
Maybe this year.
Maybe.
They're my pick this year. I'm hoping.
I'm drinking your Kool-Aid, man. Well, speaking of funny instances, Brian posted on our Hockey Happy Hour page on Facebook, bears mentioning on the show, the Jets scored into their own net and lose in overtime. Avalanche's Rene Bourque credited with the goal. This was last Saturday.
Rene Bourque, he's still playing in the league. Jesus.
Yeah.
So I'm going to ask you guys a question that I posted on the Facebook page. What the hell is going on? This is like the 4th or 5th incident where a player has put the puck into his own net.
I don't know.
Duncan Keith on opening night did it.
Yeah, that was funny. Oh, my God, that was great.
Just the other day, Louis Eriksson did it in a game. Like, come on, what is going on here?
I'm actually kind of happy we didn't get him now. He would have scored an own goal and really gave the Anaheim the win.
There's an easy explanation.
I don't get it.
The league's very young, and with youth
yeah.
comes foolishness.
I mean,
And-
I get it. Shit happens.
Right. You're trying to make spectacular plays. Maybe, I've never seen the moves that Shane Gostisbehere puts on people on the defense. Like, I've seen it on the football field, maybe even, or definitely on the hard court, never on the ice. So with youth comes ingenuity, and sometimes you're going to get these hang-ups. It was a letter of the law. You never pass the puck in front of your net. Even maybe if you have a for sure play, but not even then. Use the boards, and you're seeing that more and more. And then lo and behold, own net goal or own goals.
Yeah, well, I mean, the one with Duncan Keith was just a boneheaded pass that was just bad on Duncan Keith's part.
Yeah, he has no excuse. He literally has no excuse.
Same thing with Louis Eriksson. Louis Eriksson was trying to pass back to a defenseman that wasn't paying attention.
It's weird, though, because, we've all played hockey, and our coaches have always told us the same thing. Never pass the puck into the slot. Even if it's for sure, you just be smart with it. Don't be stupid. Because if you put it right down there in the middle lane and someone happens to be on the other team, it's going to be a goal. I mean, it's safe to say, no matter how good your goalie is, But with that all being said, though,
all three that I've mentioned, including the Winnipeg one, led to losses for their teams.
Yeah.
None of those teams wound up winning that game.
Yeah, it's weird, though. Sometimes you could chalk it up to just foolish mistakes, but at the same time, though, it becomes a habit in the NHL. He's like, what the hell's going on with the NHL?
It's a boneheaded place.
Yeah. And you know what it is? It's trying to get too fancy with it. That's what it primarily is. You see it happening as the game starts to transition more and more and more into that European style. You start seeing players making more finesse plays, and you know what it is? They forget the rink is not 3 miles wide. It is pretty short, and at any moment, you could wind up putting your goalie on an island in 3 seconds. So I think what they need to do is they need to slow the game down. I said that last week about the Flyers, 2 weeks ago about the Flyers. Slow the game down. I know it's fast, but take that full split second and make a decision. Don't take a quarter of a second. That might make all the difference between you scoring on your own goal and you actually making a pretty nice pass.
No, I completely agree with you there, Matty. You should slow the game down, but at the same time, you might not have that quarter of a second to even. And you just got to get rid of the puck before you turn it over.
Well, even if you do, then you just shoot it up the boards and you play it safe.
Well, you should.
Even if it does get pinched, at least you didn't do something really stupid and put it in the slot. At least you didn't do that. But yeah, it's just some weird stuff going around the NHL right now.
I don't disagree. I want to know what the hell is going on with the NHL. Too many bonehead plays I'm seeing this year.
It's like I said, it's that finesse play. It's that finesse play coming over from Europe, and the rinks not being as big as they are. It's people seem to forget, the rinks are just a little bit more smaller in North America than they are in Europe.
But most of these guys that are making the mistakes are North American players.
Well, yeah, but they're learning the European style nowadays. It's not like back in the day where they didn't care. Back in the day, back in the 90s and the early 2000s, they still beat the crap out of you. It didn't matter.
Fair enough.
Nowadays you start seeing American and Canadian players making all those finesse plays. Hell, Sidney Crosby. How well would he have done in the 90s? He's still a great player, but he would have had a really hard time being able to score as often as he does.
Agreed.
Because of all the big men that would have been around knocking his ass out on the ice.
That are still there.
But still.
Guys like that douchebag Gudis. Oh.
It always has to come back to you bashing Gudis at some point. You cannot go one show without throwing his ass in the fire. You cannot.
He's the only real true goon left.
Well, that's not true. There's a couple of others. There's a few that are roaming around the league.
True goons, like real goons, guys that play a physical game, but can also throw the fist around. There's nothing else.
Steve Ott, for one.
Oh yeah, I keep forgetting about Ott.
He's still around.
Detroit.
Detroit. He used to be Buffalo.
I watched the Coyotes game, and I saw Max Domi doing a great impression of his dad dropping
knocking
the gloves.
out Ryan Kessler.
On
a filthy uppercut. Oh.
Yeah. Yeah, apparently he can fight as well as score.
His daddy taught him a few things. His daddy taught him a couple of things about how to clench a fist properly. A couple of things. But also, real fast, before we go to break, did anyone see Wayne Simmons knock out What's-His-Face in one punch?
Oh, that was another
so pretty. One punch.
That was another one.
You got to love Wayne Simmons. Don't mess with Wayne Simmons. He will knock your ass out. It's great. Anyway, so that will do it for Around the League. When we come back, it's time to jump right back into the orange and the black. Time to talk about the Flyers, and we'll preview the Ottawa Senators game that'll be on 7 o'clock tonight sharp, and preview the up-and-coming week. But until then, let me talk to you guys about the Sports Outlet. They are for all your sporting needs and located 703 Black Horse Pike in Glendora, New Jersey. Give them a call at 856-939-2030. Email us sportsoutletnj@comcast.net or visit them on the web at www.sportsoutletinc.com. This is the Hockey Happy Hour on A2DRadio.com, and we will be right back after this. A2DRadio.com is sponsored by the Sports Outlet for all your sporting needs. Located 703 Black Horse Pike in Glendora, New Jersey. Give them a call at 856-939-2030 or email them at sportsoutletnj@comcast.net or visit them on the web at www.sportsoutletinc.com for all your sporting needs. The Sports Outlet.
A2DRadio.com is proudly sponsored by Gibson Mayer LLC Certified Public Accountants. Gibson Mayer, located in Yardley, PA, is a leading accounting and business consulting firm with a proven track record of handling critical issues with expertise across many different industries, including construction, distribution, hospitality, manufacturing, real estate, service trades, merchandising, professional services, and professional athletes. Give them a call at 215-369-3300. That's 215-369-3300. Your initial consultation is always free, and if you tell them that Tom and Mike from AM and the PM sent you, you'll receive 15% off all income tax services completed by February 15th. That's Gibson Mayer LLC Certified Public Accountants, 215-369-3300, or visit them on the web at www.gibsonmayer.com. That's gibsonmayer.com.
Hey, do you need to get your skills in shape? Then contact the Scanzano Sports Center, located at 5 Carnegie Plaza in Cherry Hill, New Jersey. You can give them a call at 856-889-3434 or visit them on the web at www.scanzanosports.com. John Scanzano offers individual, semi-private, and team training lessons in hitting, pitching, catching, outfield, along with turf rentals. The Scanzano Sports Center is equipped with a 31,000 square foot indoor facility, 4 batting cages, and a 4,000 square foot strengthening and conditioning room. So what are you waiting for? Contact the Scanzano Sports Center today.
You're listening to the Hockey Happy Hour, only on A2DRadio.com.
Bada boom, real guy in the room. How you doing? Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the Hockey Happy Hour. We are live from the BMW of Atlantic City Studios. And what do we got over here? Got ourselves a read. Have you ever wanted the ultimate driving experience? Well, then go to BMW Atlantic City. Easy to get 2 minutes off of exit 37 of the Parkway, located at 6037 Black Horse Pike in Egg Harbor Township, New Jersey. And phone number is 609-568-9200, and they are online at www.bmwatlanticcity.com.
I'm going to take back my voiceover opinion from before.
Like that,
That one was a little, you're fired.
Yeah, a little iffy.
You're fired.
Yeah, I should have did that. I suck. I'm not going to talk for the rest of the show. What I will say real quick, and I applaud CSNPhilly.com for getting with the times. They announced this week that you can watch Flyers games streaming now on the website as well as the NBC Sports app because NBC, owns, so to speak, or in partnership with CSN. So that's a great feature, especially you're on the go a lot like me or whatever. You want to watch it on your phone, watch it on your tablet while you're at work or whatever. Just a great way to stay in touch with Flyers hockey.
Yeah, but didn't you have some bone to pick with CSN?
Oh, yeah, well, yeah, thank you. Thank you. I have a couple bones to pick with CSN. First of all, where was this since the beginning of the season? I missed the home opener because I couldn't watch it streaming live. But what I learned to do was I started DVRing some games because it's my job to know, be affluent with what's going on with the Flyers. So I DVR'd the Detroit Red Wings game because I was out working from Wednesday Night Rivalry. Get home. I turned my internet. Was that Wednesday? No, that was Tuesday. Pardon me. It was the game before that was Wednesday Night Rivalry. That was a Tuesday night. Yeah. Pardon me. So I was out working, came back home. I left my phone off. I told people don't text me. I'm not looking at my phone, right? And phones strapped to your hip these days. I rely upon notifications. It was a hardship to leave my internet off, so I didn't see the final score of the game because I'm an analyst, but I'm also a fan, right? Watching the game about 8 minutes into the first period, on the bottom line, CSN flashes the final score of the game. Yeah. No, that was a 3-2 shootout loss. No, I still watched it to know, but how hard is that? I mean, that's rule number 1 in broadcasting. When you replay a game, you take that out of the ticker. And it didn't play.
Worst.
It was the only time they did it, so it was like somebody effed up, I think hopefully they got fired and they'll hire Brian or something.
You effed up. You effed up.
I'll take the
you
job.
effed
Hell
up.
yeah.
That's the worst because I do the same thing with Anaheim games sometimes, especially when they're on the East Coast.
Right.
And I'm not going to be able to tune into the game right away because, I have to eat and stuff like that apparently to live. I don't know.
Yeah, that
anyway,
sucks, man, when that gets in the way. Dinner, lunch, breakfast,
Yeah.
just slows you
But
down.
anyway, I sit there and I put it on pause because I have NHL.tv, which is really awesome. So you can pause it and so I go up and have dinner and I come back down and I turn the game back on.
Yeah.
So I get I don't get updates on my phone. I get final alerts. So I'll be sitting there. I'll be like halfway through the third period. I'll feel my phone buzz, and me being the dummy that I am, pick up my phone and I'm like, shit.
The good news, I think you can change your notifications settings to eliminate that from happening.
Yeah, I know. I just don't do it.
Well, no, I hear you.
And then I sit there and I'm like, oh, Ducks lose. Meanwhile, they're winning on the screen that I'm watching. I'm like, oh, well, that's just a huge letdown.
Now, maybe I shouldn't be promoting this, but, usually there are YouTube channels that have the full games that usually they kind of like illegally get it and they just put it up on YouTube, and before NHL takes it down, you could just download it and watch it there. No clicker, no nothing, no notifications. You just watch it.
Shady, I like it.
Mm-hmm.
But so to finish up my point, do you know what that makes CSN Philly? Whoever was in charge of the ticker,
A scumbag?
exactly.
Yes. I'm getting wise.
Yes.
As always.
Scumbag.
So
Yeah, thanks for remembering that because I was going to forget.
No problem. No problem. So now we move on from scumbags to all but one person who's a scumbag, and that's Ottawa. The Ottawa Senators are coming to Philadelphia tonight for their first meeting of an eventual 4, I do believe, for this regular season between Philly and Ottawa. And needless to say, it's going to be an interesting battle. Ottawa has been overachieving, to say the least. They've been pretty good so far. In the division, they've been competitive, which is shocking considering the fact that Ottawa last year basically just they lost it somewhere down the line, and they could never find it again. Their offense just absolutely disappeared. Kyle Turris was nowhere to be found. And
Turris was hurt, so that really hurts your offense right there.
Not only that, also, Andrew Hammond did not have a very good year by any stretch of the imagination. The Hamburglar he got absolutely robbed of his own skill. And Craig Anderson, he did what he could, but obviously he's been going through his problems as we have now come to light, really, which we still hope everything is going well with him and his wife. But more importantly, though,
Yes.
against Ottawa tonight, the Flyers battling against them, Flyers are home. They've had 2 days' worth of rest. They come off of a victory against Minnesota 3-2. Michal Neuvirth's gone, but Mason is in net. We got Stoli as backup just in case things go horribly wrong, which I don't think they will. What do you guys see happen? Do you guys see a victory or a loss against the Senators tonight?
I could definitely see a victory over Ottawa, regardless of who's starting, which I'm going to see if I can find out right now.
Good idea.
Ottawa's a tough team. They bring a lot of offensive power to the ice, and depending on who they have in net will help determine whether or not a victory or not, in my opinion.
Yeah, I got you on that one. What do you think the score would be on that one?
Well, Ottawa's 9-5-1 on the season right now. I could see the Flyers winning like 3-2.
3-2? Close victory against Minnesota. Rob, what are you thinking?
Yeah, I agree that it will be a low-scoring game. I mean, albeit the Senators have gotten recently better results on offense on the power play, but it's been confirmed that Steve Mason will start for Philadelphia. They're not saying who will start for the Senators as of yet per this report. But, like I said, I see it being a low-scoring, tight defensive checking game. And, somebody's waving their fist in disdain. What'd I say?
You beat me to it.
What's that?
Steve Mason being the starter.
Oh, yeah. Gotcha. Well, it's a good competition we have here at ATDRadio.com. Who can get to the
Friendly
information
competition.
first? Absolutely.
Yeah,
At least on the air,
until
anyway.
the other one cuts the other, and then it gets you unhealthy. But anyway.
Yeah, so, I mean, it's not a big surprise. I mean, he is the unquestioned number one starter with Neuvirth missing 4 to 6 weeks, as we covered earlier on the show with the lower body injury. In terms of a score, I hate giving predictions because sometimes I'm right, but I'm going to say Flyers win 3-2 in overtime.
Okay.
Shane Gostisbehere gets the game-winning goal in 3-on-3.
Okay. Thank God. Not another shootout.
Hate predictions, but I gave the most specific one you could.
Right.
But watch it come true.
I'm a walking contradiction. Green Day wrote the song about me.
Are you Donald Trump?
Oh, no. Okay, he's worse.
No. So you're good. You're fine. You're fine. All right. So I will go on the side of victory. I think we'll win, but I'm actually going to say it's a regulation win, and I actually got the Flyers win 3-1. I think they actually hold Ottawa pretty good, and I think their defense shows up and really holds strong against them. After having a good tight-checking victory against Minnesota, they're ready for another one against Ottawa. It just prepped them for it. They had 2 days rest waiting for Ottawa to come in. I think the Flyers win 3-1. I think they win in regulation. They get 2 points in the standings.
You got to be careful with this Ottawa team because they're starting to find their offense again.
They are, but I think, like I said before, I think having a tight checking game against Minnesota, I think that preps you and gets you ready for a team like Ottawa in a lot of ways. And I think that they should be expecting much of the same from this team. So I think that would probably come back to help them in the long run.
I don't disagree.
Looking at other reports, projected Craig Anderson will be in that.
Oh, wow.
But
So that's going to be interesting.
It's always something to wonder. We talked about this last week. Brian, his wife's going through some cancer treatments right now, so
Right.
he's been back and forth between the team. But he will be dressed with the team along with backup Mike Condon. And like I said, they're projecting Anderson. Maybe you might see Condon get a spot start. That would obviously be to the Flyers' favor.
Yeah. As the Ottawa coach, and I'm not trying to say that Anderson shouldn't get the start. I'm just saying, I don't know, just to play on the error side of caution, I would put Condon in goal. That just be on the side of caution. I'd do that. I wouldn't put Anderson in goal.
Well, I mean, there's only so much that Craig Anderson can do at this point. He might as well just keep going about his business.
Gotcha.
Worry about winning hockey games right now. His wife is doing everything that she can at this point. There's not really much else he can do.
Yeah, that's true. It's just hard.
Yeah.
It's hard to be in that position. I don't think any coach or anybody or any goalie could really. Well, maybe you don't know for certain, but somebody who's in that position, it's very, very hard.
It's pretty sweet what he's doing, though. In warm-ups, he'll wear the purple jersey representing Hockey Fights Cancer, and it's with a different number. I want to say it was 28.
23.
23, thank you, which is his wife it's her favorite number. So I think that's pretty cool. I mean, what are you going to do? I mean, you support your wife. I mean, it's
absolutely. No, I agree completely. But like I said, I've been in a similar position before with my mom. There's not really much else you can do. You just keep going about your business. And
likewise.
Yeah.
And the funny part of that is that I want to say congratulations to the NHL. And I don't say this all that often. Why? Because they don't make a big case about it. Unlike a certain league that everyone likes to hamper on and pretend that it's actually worthy of something. Little thing we like to call the NFL.
Yeah, agreed.
Because they always fine you for stupid shit like that. Like, seriously. And people love the NFL. What is wrong with you people? Anyway, moving on.
One thing that'll hurt Senators' efforts will be Clark MacArthur. He's out with a concussion. Good character player, not like a top-line guy, but...
I feel so bad for that guy.
Yeah.
He's never healthy. I don't think he's been fully healthy in like 4 years.
Yeah. I actually forgot he still played, to be honest with you, because of his injury problems.
Clark MacArthur at one point was a very talented player.
And he's playing on the Maple Leafs, too, for a period of time. And I think that was short time, but I think that was when he played the most, was when he was with the Maple Leafs. And then he just started getting more injuries, and that just tacked on.
Just went to Ottawa, and he just can't stay healthy.
Yeah, it's a real shame on that one.
I think this one. Is this a separate one from what happened in training camp?
Yes.
Because I know he took a nasty hit in training camp from his own player, and Bobby Ryan went after him. I remember seeing the video for that. That was a nasty hit.
Is it ever separate? I mean, usually one besets another, but it was just announced, at least in this report, like it was like new news, not old news. My interpretation.
If the circumstances were different.
Right.
Yeah. So we got that. We got our predictions in. We've got wins all around the board against Ottawa. Now we move towards Winnipeg on Thursday at 7 o'clock. And this is a game that I hate this team. I hate Winnipeg. Mostly because of one player, Dustin Byfuglien. I hate that guy. I don't like him.
Buffoon?
Yeah. If I had one bullet and I had to choose between Crosby and Byfuglien, that's actually a hard choice. That is a very difficult choice, I'll be honest with you. On one hand, I could get rid of Crosby. But on the other hand, Byfuglien, man, I would love to see a day where he doesn't exist. That would be nice. The fact that he's breathing is annoying.
That's awesome.
That's kind of harsh, though.
Well, if you...
I get it. I understand completely. I'm not a Dustin Byfuglien fan myself, but... it's still really harsh.
That's still, though. I mean, don't tell me that the NHL wouldn't be a better place without him.
I mean, he's not the dirtiest of players in the league.
But it'd still be a better place. I mean, come on. He's not
I'm not denying that.
He's not Rafi Torres, but
who
still.
Just retired.
Yeah.
Scumbag.
Yeah, big time.
Torres is definitely a scumbag.
Yeah.
Dustin Byfuglien is a lot better than he used to be.
Yeah. Okay.
He's wearing a captain's letter in Winnipeg. He's a leader now.
Winnipeg. Anyway, so with that being said, I'm hoping for a win here. It's going to be tough, though, because Winnipeg's playing really well right now. They're really being competitive in the West, which is shocking because last year they weren't competitive at all. So this year, now they're actually looking like they might have a chance at a wild card spot this year, like 2 years ago when they got swept by your Anaheim Ducks. And I'm sure that brings back some pleasant memories.
Until the next freaking round.
But are they playing really that well? I mean, one game over 500 here, right? They're in the top in the second position in the Central. So you're right. I'm not disagreeing with your point. But is it them playing well, or does it tie to the point that we made last week that the West is weaker than it's ever had been, and the East is the place to be?
Yeah,
well,
that's
here's my question. Here's my question for you. What's their last 10 games look like?
5-3-2.
Ooh.
So they're playing about average hockey.
And they just came off of a win. So it's going to be interesting to see what happens when they move forward into Philadelphia. Now, we will have home ice, so that's actually good news. I'm going to say the Flyers get an overtime win here. I'm going to say it's an OT winner for Philadelphia. What about you guys?
I'm seeing a loss.
You're seeing a loss.
I think Patrick Laney is going to come in and he's going to dominate
All right. What about
like
you?
he has been.
What about you, Rob?
You know, my first instinct was a loss as well. Just bringing up the schedule here real quick. Well, this is a home game because they have a lot of home games in a row, so they do have the advantage there. But I could see a Jets team just coming in and not really having much to go on, much tape on them, and kind of surprising, like I said, or like Brian just said, excuse me, I didn't say it. Brian said it. Patrick Laine has been off the charts, and it's starting to bring in the question who the real cream of the crop is. Is it Connor McDavid or is it Patrick Laine? Is it Austin Matthews? Austin Matthews had those 4 goals in his debut and has only had 2 since. I think Laine might be the best out of those 3 right now.
Yeah, he's got 2. Well, I don't know if
And
he's
I
the best
take
out
out-
of the 3,
Right.
but he's definitely the best right now between Laine and Austin Matthews.
Right.
Laine's got 2 hat tricks on the season already.
Right, exactly. And I took out Jack Eichel, the other, because it's really the big 4, the 2 from previous season, 2 draftees this season. Eichel hasn't been healthy to play. So just took him out of the equation. I mean, he
Should be getting ready to come back shortly.
Probably.
Which
With
would
that
be
the end of
high goal rate.
November.
a huge boost for Buffalo right now.
Right.
They
We're
do
getting to the
need
end of
one.
November.
Yeah.
The only expected amount, what, 4 to 6 weeks, 6 to 8 weeks, something like that?
Something about that.
Yeah, it was 4 to 6.
So we're at about that point where we're at almost a 2-month mark now.
They're going to be ginger with him not only because of a prized possession, but those high ankle sprains. You know from being a football fan as well. They're it's not easy sledding coming back from it.
No.
Just takes one nasty fall, and then boom, you're right back onto
Yeah,
the
it's susceptible.
onto the injury list.
Yeah, it's susceptible to re-injury, but just it's one of those nagging things. Like the high ankle sprain and the hamstring strain are 2 injuries that really make me cringe.
Yeah,
Yeah,
we
and-
saw problems with that with Gostisbehere when he was in Philly. We had the ACL problems.
Jumping back real quick to the Flyers and Jets, one thing that I just realized was they have Jacob Trouba back now. So that shores up their defense a little bit more, too.
Oh, wow. I forgot
Great
Jacob
point.
Trouba. I forgot all about him. Jesus. I forgot.
Yeah, we signed a 2-year contract. I believe it was a 2-year contract 2 weeks ago. 2 weeks ago now?
Yep.
I
About
forgot
that.
all about that on that one.
Yeah. Former Minnesota Wild.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
But you know what? I'm still sticking to my guns. Still saying OT win.
Yeah.
Why? Because
I
it's
hope
the
so.
Flyers. That's why.
It'd be nice for them to get on a nice winning streak because, I mean, they played good to great hockey at times, but in the end only have a 500 record. If it, like I said, we talked about some of the goaltending questions. And maybe that's taken away 2 or 3 wins. This team could easily be a 10-4 team. You got to start putting some wins together, fellas.
But this is the time to do it, though, because you got 3 straight home games. Now, albeit you don't have the easiest opponents in the world coming up, which, by the way, the last game is on the 19th, and that's Tampa Bay at 1 o'clock on Saturday. That's a loss. I think we can all safely say that's not going to be a win for Philadelphia. I mean, I'd like to say they can beat Tampa, but I don't know about that one. If they get going, it's going to be hard to stop them.
I mean, Tampa Bay is a really, really good hockey club and could very well represent the Eastern Conference in the
Again.
Stanley Cup final again.
Yeah, I mean, it's just I don't see a victory. I see a 4-1 loss, maybe 5-1 loss.
See, the thing is,
I think they're going to get creamed by Tampa.
right. I mean, Lightning do score a fair amount of goals. They got 50 on the season, but they've also given up 42. So they can be beaten. They're 4-5-1 in their last 10, sitting at a total record of 9-6-1 on the season. I've seen the Flyers and this young talent really rise to competition. I wouldn't be surprised if Flyers win that game, man. I really do.
I mean, it's very much possible.
Well, either way, though, like I was saying before, this is the time where you get a win streak together. You got 3 home games, you get 3 wins, possibly. And if you can do that, you're in good spot. Then you can start looking forward towards your little tour of Florida that you got coming up next week.
Would it be ballsy if I predicted a shootout win for the Flyers in that Lightning game? That would be ballsy.
That's beyond ballsy
I'm
right
doing
there.
it. I'll put it on the record. 3-2 in a shootout.
To quote Duke Nukem, I got balls of steel to
Balls,
be predicted
balls.
something like that.
The Flyers are what, 2-1
In the
in
shootout.
the shootout right now?
Yeah, But they went undefeated, though, so there's something to count for.
Right, they were 2-0 at one
Yeah,
point.
yeah, so, that counts for something, damn it. But anyway, moving on. When we come back, it's time to finish this one up, and I'm just going to go through a quick run-through of the standings and show you what the playoff picture looked like if it happened to start today. Why? Because I feel like it. That's why.
Why?
So,
why not?
why not? That's why. But first, I want to talk to you guys about the Scanzano Sports Center, located at 5 Carnegie Plaza in Cherry Hill, New Jersey. Give them a call at 856-889-3434 or visit them on the web at www.scanzanosports.com. We are the Hockey Happy Hour, and we'll be right back after this. A2DRadio.com is sponsored by the Sports Outlet for all your sporting needs. Located at 703 Black Horse Pike in Glendora, New Jersey. Give them a call at 856-939-2030 or email them at sportsoutletnj@comcast.net or visit them on the web at www.sportsoutletinc.com for all your sporting needs. The Sports Outlet.
Hey, do you need to get your skills in shape? Then contact the Scanzano Sports Center, located at 5 Carnegie Plaza in Cherry Hill, New Jersey. You can give them a call at 856-889-3434 or visit them on the web at www.scanzanosports.com. John Scanzano offers individual, semi-private, and team training lessons in hitting, pitching, catching, outfield, along with turf rentals. The Scanzano Sports Center is equipped with a 31,000 square foot indoor facility, 4 batting cages, and a 4,000 square foot strengthening and conditioning room. So what are you waiting for? Contact the Scanzano Sports Center today.
A2DRadio.com is proudly sponsored by Gibson Mayer LLC Certified Public Accountants. Gibson Mayer, located in Yardley, PA, is a leading accounting and business consulting firm with a proven track record of handling critical issues with expertise across many different industries, including construction, distribution, hospitality, manufacturing, real estate, service trades, merchandising, professional services, and professional athletes. Give them a call at 215-369-3300. That's 215-369-3300. Your initial consultation is always free, and if you tell them that Tom and Mike from AM and the PM sent you, you'll receive 15% off all income tax services completed by February 15th. That's Gibson Mayer LLC Certified Public Accountants, 215-369-3300, or visit them on the web at www.gibsonmayer.com. That's gibsonmayer.com.
You're listening to the Hockey Happy Hour, only on A2DRadio.com.
Give me a hell yeah.
Hell yeah.
Welcome back, ladies and
No.
gentlemen. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. No. Maybe. Anyway, moving on. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the Hockey Happy Hour. We are live from the BMW Atlantic City Studios here in Mount Ephraim, New Jersey. And we are brought to you by the Sports Outlet for all your sporting needs, located at 703 Black Horse Pike in Glendora, New Jersey. Give them a call at 856-939-2030. Email them at sportsoutletnj@comcast.net or visit them on the web at www.sportsoutletinc.com. So, we've gone through all our Flyers news with the exception of a couple little tidbits, but before we get to that final bit, What did we have on the results of the Twitter question, Rob?
Sure, and the Twitter question was, how much playing time will @Stoli the goalie, which Anthony Stolarz, get with Michal Neuvirth out? Option A, split time with Mason. Option B, random start. Option C, every back-to-back game. Or D, majority of the games. Before I give the percentages, I want to give a little shout-out to Chris Schaefer chiming in on Facebook, who votes B, the random start. I agree with you, Chris. I think it will be a random start, maybe even in every back-to-back game situation. And ironically enough, with the Twitter poll, 50% goes to every back-to-back situation. So, people out there are thinking that he'll maybe not exactly split time with Mason, but he'll see his fair share of starts.
I think he will. I think we'll see a fair chunk of games where we'll see him in. It may be a handful at best. We're not going to see him too much, but we'll see him on a handful.
Right. And just a quick thing. I mean, this should have been put in around the league, but, we can always talk about it now. I saw this come up on NHL.com in the Panthers Canadiens preview. Montreal goalie Carey Price looks to tie another record. How it's described here is he has an opportunity to match George Hainsworth 89-year-old record for the longest single-season winning streak by a Montreal Canadiens goalie. Price is the first NHL goalie to win his first 10 starts of a season and can tie Hainsworth record with 11 straight wins, which was set from February 24th to March 24th, 1927.
Wow. That's a long time.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
That is a long time.
He's got a 2-season streak of 13 consecutive wins. I guess he had 3 before he got injured last season, which is the longest winning streak ever by a Canadiens goalie.
Wow. That's crazy when you think about it. Thinking about the Canadiens goaltending alumni. Wow, that's saying something right there.
Hell yeah.
All right. So, with that being set up, Eric Lindros, of course, went into the Hall of Fame just recently.
Speaking of Hall of Fame people, yep.
But did you know that, and this was funny, Paul Holmgren, when he was GM during the dark ages of Philadelphia Flyers fandom, he tried to get Eric Lindros to come back. And
I heard about
and the
this.
reporter asked, as a coach, no. And he said, as a scout, no. He wanted me to play. And then my answer to him was, are you nuts? Like, yeah.
The answer is yes.
Yeah.
You see those contracts? Yes.
Yeah. Not only that, though, Eric Lindros, it would take one check to the head and he'd be dead. Like, seriously.
Or drooling all over himself in the corner of the room.
Yeah, like, seriously. Come on now. Jesus, Paul Holmgren, thank God you are no longer our GM.
Can't blame a guy for trying.
He's still dumbass.
Yeah, dumbass.
Dumbass. Anyway, moving on.
I actually want to backtrack a little bit.
Yes.
Back to the poll question.
Yes.
I think it's going to be a mixture of two answers regarding Stolarz and how much playing time he's going to see. I think not only is he going to see the back-to-back, he's going to see random starts in between too. 4 to 6 weeks for any goalie, I don't care who you are, is a long stretch of a goalie to go without getting any kind of rest.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Especially during a busy schedule.
Yeah. So I think we're going to see a good amount of Anthony Stolarz in the next 4 to 6 weeks.
Brian, I couldn't agree with you more because, as we said, Mason, too, gets the injury bug. You want to keep him healthy. You better not start him like 8 days a week.
Well, before we go into the standings and everything like that, I got to ask you guys, the next back-to-back happens to be a road tour of Florida, and it starts off in Sunrise against the Panthers, then it ends in Tampa. Do you see Stolarz getting a start in any one of those games, or do you see Mason starting both? Because those are two tough teams, although Florida's injury problems have kind of resulted in them not being as deadly as they were.
I see Stolarz starting against Florida.
Which is the first game of the two, and then you save Mason for the tougher one against Tampa.
Right.
I mean, you might see Stolarz before that.
Really? You expect to see him against either Winnipeg or Tampa before that?
I could see him maybe starting Thursday.
Against Winnipeg?
I mean, I get that they're just coming off a little bit of a break. They had a few days off to rest up, but why not see what Stolarz has against Winnipeg?
That's correct. All right.
Or
then.
even the firepower of Tampa Bay.
Right.
Okay. All right.
When we were previewing the Tampa Bay game, I was almost thinking that maybe you put in Stolarz there and have him really shine against some of the league's best scorers, and Steven Stamkos and Drouin and stuff, and then all of a sudden now you have a valuable commodity that Las Vegas will pilfer from us.
Right. I mean, in Lehigh, in 8 starts, Anthony Stolarz is 6-2 with a .927 save percentage and a 2.39 goals against. Ooh. He's only allowed 19 goals on 241. He's allowed 19 goals and has saved 241 pucks.
Well, you know what? I'm going to say that even that, I was thinking, like, you know, if it's going back-to-back, I would see him starting against most likely Miami. But if I hear what you're saying about Winnipeg, but Winnipeg can be dangerous at times, you know. But then again, you don't want to, you know, pamper the guy. You want to put him into a tough game and have him rise to the occasion.
And just see what happens.
Yeah, see what happens.
Mm-hmm. I mean, the season is still early.
Yeah.
Neuvirth isn't out for
forever,
a huge amount of time.
Which is shocking, but, you know.
Stolarz is eventually going to have to see some of these tough teams.
That is
why
true.
Not just
get him started?
I'm not necessarily saying throw him to the Wolves, but let him get his feet wet.
Yeah,
all right.
Agreed.
Well, we'll see what happens with Stoley coming up, and we'll see if we'll see him start on Thursday or that back-to-back next week in Florida. So now we go into our standings and take a look at what the playoffs look like today. Why? Because it's fun, and I just want to do it. So let's get started with the Metropolitan. Leading the way is the New York Rangers, who sit at a 12-4-0 record worth 24 points. Do these guys lose at all? Like, they just never lose, period. Pittsburgh the same way. Pittsburgh's at number 2. They have 10 wins, 3 losses, and 2 OTLs. 22 points worth. And third place is Washington at 9 wins, 4 losses, and 1 OTL worth 19 points. So the elite of the Metropolitan haven't changed all that much. Moving down to the Atlantic, Montreal leads the way with 13 wins, 2 losses, and 1 OTL worth of 27 points. Boston is second. Now that stuns me. With 10 wins, 6 losses, no OTLs worth 20 points. Ottawa is third, another shocker, at 9-5-1, worth of 19 points. That's pretty darn good right there for both Boston and Ottawa, 2 teams that were struggling last year to even make a wild card spot.
As far as Boston goes, and I'll have to double check this, and I'll do that after I make the statement. Tuukka Rask has been hot since he's come back.
Yeah.
I think the last I saw, and this was a couple weeks ago, he was like 8-1 since coming back or something like that. I'm going to look that up.
Looking like the Tuukka Rask of old, back when they were competing for a Stanley Cup. Anyway, next in the wild card spot, the New Jersey Devils, sit at the number 1 wild card spot at 8 wins, 3 losses, and 3 OTLs worth 19 points. Matching them is the Tampa Bay Lightning at 9 wins, 6 losses, and 1 OTL worth 19 points. And no one is tied with them. So that would basically put that as the wild card spot for the Eastern Conference, which if the playoffs were to start today, the New York Rangers would be battling it out. Or actually, I correct myself. Montreal is the overall. So they would be facing off with Tampa because Tampa is the lower seeded wild card. So Tampa Bay would face off with Montreal. Ooh, that'd be a fun series to see. Carey Price versus Ben Bishop or Vasilevsky. That'd be a fun series to watch.
All right, so here's some info on Tuukka Rask. In 11 games, he's 10-1 with a 1.54 goals against and a 9.945 save percentage. Now, in the last 5 games against Colorado, Arizona, Columbus, Buffalo, and the Rangers, he is 4-1 and has allowed up 8 goals in those 5 games.
Wow. He's been killing it. Jesus. He's been on fire.
And he's seen 120 shots.
Jesus.
In those 5 games?
That's a lot of alcohol. Oh, shots on goal. Got it. Right.
One too many shots of that vodka. Anyway, moving on to the next matchup. The next matchup would be the New York Rangers versus the New Jersey Devils. Ooh, big rivalry matchup right there if the playoffs were to start today on that one. Moving on, in the Metropolitan matchup, it would be Pittsburgh versus Washington, a rematch from last year's semifinals, but we all know how that would end. Pittsburgh moves on. And then going on to the Atlantic, Boston would face off with Ottawa. There's an interesting match right there.
I kind of like that.
Yeah, that's an oddball matchup. You don't see that all that often. Boston versus Ottawa. I don't think they faced each other, since the 90s. I don't think they've seen each other, period, since then.
Offensively, I think they match up well. Obviously, Boston's got the favor in goaltending. And I think Boston would win that series pretty handily.
It'd be interesting. I mean, I think the last time Ottawa faced Boston, I think Daniel Alfredsson was their captain. So I think that's a long time ago to see Ottawa face off with Boston. That'd
I
be
see
interesting.
the reverse there. I think age would catches up with Boston, and I love Kyle Turris. I'm a huge fan of Kyle Turris, and Bobby Ryan's still there in Ottawa, I believe. Correct?
Oh yeah, he's going to be there for a long time.
Yeah, exactly. I like the nucleus of that team, but the ultimate deciding factor is when you have any player, let alone a goalie, fighting for a cause. Watch out.
So now we go to the Western Conference, and here's the Central Division setup. We have Chicago at number 1 with 11-3-2, worth 24 points. Winnipeg is number 2, 8-7-2, worth 18 points, which is apparently enough to get you second place in the West. In Minnesota, they are third at an 8-5-1 record, worth 17 points. And we go to the Pacific. Edmonton leads the way with 9-6-1, worth 19 points. San Jose is 9-6-0, worth 18 points at number 2. Anaheim is third at 7-6-3 and 17 points. And then the wild card. St. Louis has a 7-6-3 record, worth 17 points, and Dallas has a 6-6-4 record, worth 16 points. That is atrocious. Look at the points. Look at the point differential between the East and the West. That is bad. Like, holy. The cup is going to be to an Eastern Conference team. I think so.
It's definitely not going to be Anaheim because they're going to lose in the first round if they play San Jose.
Yeah, because that would be what the matchup would be for the Pacific. It'd be San Jose and Anaheim in that one. In the Central, it'd be Winnipeg versus Minnesota. So you have an ultra-defensive team versus an ultra-offensive team. That would be an oddball matchup, which I actually don't see Minnesota winning. I actually see Winnipeg winning that matchup.
Well, I mean, Anaheim's offense has been very inconsistent this year. There'll be games where they'll put up a steady stream of goals, and then all of a sudden they're just not going to be there, and the goaltending is just going to be hard. AKA the game on Saturday night against Nashville. I believe it was Saturday.
The goaltending is going to be hard? What for?
Harsh.
Oh.
It's going to be harsh. That was a nasty game. They lost 5-0, and I watched like maybe 2 minutes of that game because I was working. And I saw 3 penalties go uncalled, but a very ticky-tacky high stick call on.
Oh, there's been a lot of that BS going around the league lately. It's not just with
Josh
them.
Manson.
It's with everybody. We had ticky-tacky call between Arizona and Philly. It's been ticky-tacky call all over the place. Oh, and then moving on to our wild card matchups. Chicago, who have let's see who has the most points here. Yep, Chicago has the most points, so they would be facing the second wild card. They'd be facing Dallas, which would be, that's a crazy matchup right there. 2 highly offensive teams. That would pretty much come down to goaltending on who would survive, which I would see Chicago actually winning that series. No offense to Dallas, but I think I'd see Chicago getting through Dallas.
I don't know. I don't think Chicago's really much of that powerhouse that they used to be.
Yeah, but I don't think Dallas
Corey
would.
Crawford's not having a great year. The defense is hurting a little bit.
Yeah, but I still think Chicago would be able to pass Dallas, though. I think they'd be able to get through Dallas at least.
I don't know. I like Dallas. Dallas's offense is ridiculous. Their
I mean,
defense got better.
That's true, but their goaltending is going to be an interesting question mark, though.
Well, their goaltending hasn't changed much.
Yeah, so now moving on to Edmonton versus St. Louis. Veterans versus youth. And call me crazy, but does anyone here remotely think Edmonton might have a shot of actually upsetting the St. Louis Blues in the first round?
Well, I think the fact that they're in first place right now is an utter shock. So I think they could take the Blues.
I think it would be a 7-game series, but yeah, I could actually see Edmonton upsetting them and going to the next round. To be honest with you.
I could too. Cam Talbot's playing phenomenal. The defense has been stellar in front of him. And the offense led by Connor McDavid and Ryan Nugent-Hopkins is, well, it's enough said there.
So basically what we're saying is that St. Louis will still be that one team from the first expansion that will still not have a Stanley Cup.
Well, let's hope.
I mean, I don't see St. Louis playing Edmonton in the first round anyway.
No, I know. I got you.
St. Louis is going to scoot up the standing just a little bit.
It's still early, I know.
At the same point, I was like, let's hope that it doesn't work out like that because you'd like to see Edmonton do something in the playoffs, young upstart team. And the Blues, I think, are going to steamroll. So if it was this matchup, I still think the Blues beat Edmonton.
Okay. Do you see it as a quick series or a short series?
It'll be I think it'll be like a 5-6 game series.
5-6 game series? Oh,
Agreed.
okay. All right, then. All right. Well, that would be what the playoff picture looks like. I think San Jose would beat Anaheim. I think that's safe to say. Sorry, Brian.
I think.
Yeah.
Well, I've been saying since the offseason, they're not going to be anything more than, if they make the playoffs, a first-round elimination.
Yeah, and then we have Pittsburgh, Washington. Pittsburgh wins that hands down because Washington can't play Pittsburgh. The Rangers against New Jersey. I hate to do this. I'm actually going to say the Devils upset them. Why? Because the Devils are the damn Devils. That's why. They always upset teams. That's what they do. But anyway, all right, so that will do it for this edition of the Hockey Happy Hour. It's last call time, folks, but before we go, just want to let you know about the BMW of Atlantic City. They're located at 6037 Black Horse Pike in Egg Harbor Township, New Jersey. Give them a call, 609-568-9200, or visit them on the web at www.bmwofatlanticcity.com. This has been the Hockey Happy Hour. We will see you next week on A2T Radio.com.
Congratulations, 88.